Okay, we'll look into problem number 9. See, the Abhi Company Limited went into voluntary liquidation on 31/12/2003, at which date its share capital and liabilities are as follows. So you have 2,500 equity shares of 100 each, but they have paid only 1,75,000. Later they have made calls in advance and they have received 12,500. So totally it is 1,87,500. Equity shares of rupees 100 each at rupees 90 paid 4,50,000. Again they have received in advance 50,000, so that is a total of 5 lakh. But there is also calls which was not paid, so calls unpaid is 25,000, so total is 4,75,000. I'll tell you how you have to deal with calls in advance, calls unpaid and all. Next you have debentures. Floating charge means interest charge. Okay, so debenture is 50,000. Interest on debentures given is 5,000. Unsecured creditors 12,500 preferential creditors, so it is 1,50,000. Okay, 1,50,000 is unsecured creditors, which is including 12,500. Assets realized is given, liquidation expense is given, remuneration is 4% on the assets realized. So one is at 4% and the other one is at 2.5%. 2.5 means 2.5% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. Now see, prepare liquidator's final statement of account assuming that calls unpaid were duly collected. So in this problem, see where you have calls unpaid. For this class of equity shares, you don't have calls unpaid. You have only calls received in advance. Received in advance means I've already given you an example. Like now I will ask you to pay only 10 rupees out of 15 rupees. But if you all pay me complete 15 rupees, that is called calls in advance. Calls unpaid means even after asking you to pay 10 rupees, you have paid only 8 rupees or you have paid only 5 rupees. That is lesser than what I have asked. That is called calls unpaid. So here you don't have unpaid, you have only calls received in advance. But in second class of shareholders, you have calls in advance as well as you have calls unpaid. Okay, so what are they telling you? Assuming that the calls unpaid were collected. So this unpaid 25,000 was collected by the liquidator. So we'll see how you have to do this problem. Now this problem is little different when compared to the previous, but the format and all is the same. Okay, so we'll start. So I'm giving the heading as liquidator's final statement of accounts. Okay, I am writing receipts, amount, payment and amount. Okay, so under receipt side we usually start with cash in hand or cash at bank. Since you don't have that information, I am not writing it. Then we usually write your assets realized. So I am writing 2 assets realized, that is 7,75,000, which is given in the question. Okay, after this we write your surplus from secured creditors, but since you don't have surplus from secured creditors, I am not writing it. So as of now we have written it as assets realized 7,75,000. Okay, then one more information that they have given here is, see, assuming that calls unpaid were collected. Collected means cash is coming in. I am receiving the amount. So I am supposed to write it under the receipt side. Correct? Calls unpaid were duly collected. Collected means it is received by the liquidator. So cash is coming in the business. So how much is the calls unpaid? For the first class of equity shares, you don't have calls unpaid. But for the second class of equity shares, you have calls unpaid, that is 25,000. So this 25,000 is collected by the liquidator. So I am writing it under the receipt side as 2 calls unpaid collected. Okay, collected by whom? Collected by the liquidator, and that is 25,000. So receipt side is done. Now let us look into your payment side. So how do you start payment side? We always start by writing your liquidation expense. Okay, liquidation expense given is 22,750. Then I write liquidator's remuneration. Okay, I usually write legal charge, but since there is no legal charge given, I am writing remuneration. Now remuneration is of 2. One is at 4% and the other one is at 2.5%, which is 2.5%. 4% on what have they told? They have told it is 4% on the assets realized. How much is the assets realized? 7,75,000. So 4%, 7,75,000. I am doing it here itself. If you want, you can do it even in the working note also. That will give you 31,000. Okay. Then what have they told you? It is 2.5% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. So before you go for your unsecured creditors, we have to do a working note. Okay, this working note is for your liquidators remuneration. Fine. So one is at 4% on assets realized, that we have already written it as 31,000. Okay. Second one is at 2.5% on unsecured creditors. So how do you do this? You have to basically do the comparison. That is actual amount available in the problem and how much is the amount given in the question or given in the problem. Okay, so we do a comparison between these two. Amount given in the question is 1,50,000. Okay, so I am supposed to take including your preference creditors only, always. Okay, don't take it minusing preference creditors. It is always including preference creditors. So I have written 1,50,000. Okay, then I have to find out how much is the actual amount available in the problem. How do you do this? We basically minus your receipts and your payment. So in the receipts we have 7,75,000 plus 25,000, which is a calls that I have written, minus liquidation expense 22,750 plus remuneration that I have written is 31,000. Okay, so minus these two, your receipts minus your payment, so 8 lakh minus okay, I am getting as 7,46,250. So my available 7,46,250. Okay, so my available balance is more than the actual amount given in the question. So which formula I use? I use my first formula. Okay, because I have more balance with me, so I use first formula. So what is the first formula? Remuneration is equal to how much is the cash available, how much is the amount given for the unsecured creditors? 1,50,000 into percentage of remuneration, which is 2.5%. So 1,50,000 into 2.5% will give you 3,750. So this is the remuneration. Clear? I hope this is clear to all, because this is the same thing that we have been doing from the previous problem. Okay, why did I use first formula? Because I have more balance in the problem, so I am using first formula. If my balance was less than 1,50,000, I would have been used second formula. Okay, so now I am going to write 3,750 as my remuneration. So 2.5% is 3,750. Okay. Next, according to your format, what comes after this? After this, we usually write your preferential creditors. But remember, as per the format, we have to write debenture holders. In this problem, you have debenture holders. They have given debentures as 50,000. Please remember, there is debentures in the problem. And also they have told there is interest on debentures. So whenever you have interest on debentures, that also should be written in the question. Okay, please don't forget to write interest and the capital. Debenture holders 50,000, capital given in the question. Interest on debenture 5,000, this is also given in the question. Then only I write my preferential creditors. Okay, preferential creditors directly they have given it as 12,500. Okay. After preferential creditors, I write unsecured creditors. Okay. Now unsecured creditors, they have told it is 1,50,000, which is including 12,500. So 1,50,000 minus 12,500, it is 1,37,500. So before you write 1,37,500, check whether you have 1,37,500. How will you check? Take the total of your receipts minus all this payment and see whether you have more than 1,37,500 or less than. Okay, so 8 lakh minus 22,750, 31, then 3,750, 50,000, then 5,000 and 12,500. So you have still 6,75,000 is there. So I have more balance. So I am going to write 1,37,500 for unsecured creditors. If it was less than 1,37,500, I would have simply written it as a balancing figure and I would have closed the problem. That is your first two problems which we have done at the initial stages. Okay. Now I have more balance with me. So I am writing unsecured creditors as 1,37,500. Okay. After you write your unsecured creditors as 1,37,500, next we usually write your preference shareholders. But there is no preference shareholders in the problem, so I write my equity shareholders. But before you write your equity shareholders, remember you have to return the calls in advance what you have already received. Then only you are supposed to write your equity shareholders. Okay, please remember in mind, whenever you have calls in advance given in the problem, first do this payment and then do the capital payment. Okay, here calls unpaid was collected. Similarly, whatever I have received in advance, that should be returned back first. Then only I should write my equity shareholders. Okay, so how much is the calls in advance given in the problem? You have two calls in advance. One is 12,500 and the other calls in advance is 50,000. So 12,000, okay, I am just writing here. Okay, 12,500 plus 50,000. It is 62,500. Okay, please keep in mind, whenever you have calls in advance, first do this payment and then we are supposed to write your equity shareholders. So when you are writing your equity shareholders, again we have class 1 and we have class 2. So whenever you have class 1 and class 2, what should we do? We have to calculate the deficiency. Okay, because we should know how much we have to pay to the equity shareholders. Now, how do you do that? First, what do we do? First, we calculate the available balance to be paid to equity shareholders. Correct? If it was preference shareholders, I would have written it as available balance to be paid to preference shareholders. Since I don't have preference shareholders, I am writing equity shareholders. So how will you do this calculation? First, we have to write how much is the amount to be paid. Okay. How will you calculate your amount to be paid? How many class of equity shares you have? 2. Class 1 and class 2. Class 1 equity shares are 2,500 equity shares and they have paid at rupees 70. Class 2 is 5,000 equity shares and they have paid at rupees 90. So how much is 2,500 into 70 is 1,75,000. 5,000 into 90, it is 4,50,000. Okay, so 4,50,000 plus 1,75,000. Remember, you are supposed to pay them 6,25,000. Okay, amount to be paid to whom? To the equity shareholders. What do? You find out how much is the actual balance available in the problem. How do you find out actual balance available in the problem? Receipts minus payment. So on the receipt side, you have 7,75,000 plus 25,000, okay, minus 22,750 plus 31,000 plus 3,750 plus 50,000 plus 5,000 plus 12,500 plus 1,37,500 plus 62,500. Okay, so if I minus this is these two are my receipts and complete this is my payment. So 8 lakh minus 22,750, 31, 3,750, 50,000, 5,000, 12,500, 1,37,500 and 62,500. You get 4,75,000. Correct? So when I do my receipts minus payment, my actual balance available in the problem is only 4,75,000. But how much should I pay them? I am supposed to pay them 6,25,000. So how much is the deficiency for me? Deficiency for me is 1,50,000. Clear? This is the deficiency. What do you do now? So I'll continue here. Deficiency is 1,50,000. For how many shares? Deficiency for 2,500 plus 5,000. For 7,500 shares, your deficiency is 1,50,000. Therefore, how much will it be for per share? Per share is equal to 1,50,000 divided by 7,500. You get rupees 20 per share. Okay, this is the deficiency that I have calculated. Now why do I do all this? Remember, I don't know how much I have to pay for class 1 and class 2. I know there is available balance of 4,75,000, but I don't know how much should I give for class 1 and for class 2. That is why I am calculating the deficiency. After this, it is simple. How do you do? Class 1 deficiency per share is 20 minus already paid. How much is already paid by class 1? Class 1 have paid 70 rupees. So 20 minus 70 is 50. My deficiency is only 20, but they have paid me 70 rupees. So 50 rupees I should return to them. So to be returned. If it is to be returned, where will you write? Under the payment side. So how much will you write? How many shares? 2,500 equity shares at rupees 50. So 2,500 into 50, you will write 1,25,000. Clear? We'll do for class 2. Class 2, again deficiency per share, it is 20 minus already paid. How much is already paid by class 2? Class 2 have already paid 90. So 20 minus 90. That is 70. Again they have paid more. Okay, my deficiency is only 20, but they have paid 90 rupees. So 70 rupees should be returned. If it is returned, where do I write? I write it on the payment side. How many shares? 5,000 equity shares at rupees 70. That is 3,50,000. Now how much is 3,50,000 plus 1,25,000? 3,50,000 plus 1,25,000 will give you 4,75,000. So this actual balance available in the problem, 4,75,000. How am I distributing? I am distributing 1,25,000 for class 1 and 3,50,000 for class 2. In order to find out these two amount only, I am doing all this calculation. Okay, please keep in mind. I am going to, my requirement is only 20, but they have paid me 70, so I am returning the extra 50. So I am writing it on the payment side. My requirement is 20, but they have paid me 90, so I am going to return them 70 rupees, so I write it under the payment side. So when you add these two, you will get 4,75,000, which is the actual balance that is available, and this 4,75,000 should be distributed in this way only. To find out this amount only, I am doing all this calculation. So please keep that in mind. Okay. So now we'll come back to the problem. So class 1, how much I am going to pay? I am going to pay 1,25,000. Okay. Class 2, I am paying 3,50,000. Okay. When you tally both the side, you will get 8 lakhs. So I'll just quickly tell you what is a new thing that we have studied in this problem. Everything is the same. Calls unpaid is something that we have written new in this problem because they have told calls unpaid is collected. So money is coming in. So 25,000 without any calculation, just by looking into the problem I have written it. On this side, all others is same. Debenture holders and interest both I have written here. That was new. There is no preference shareholders. So I am writing equity shareholders, but before that I have to pay whatever money that I have received in advance. So before I pay to the equity shareholders, I am returning the money that I was received in advance, that is 62,500, 12,500 for class 1 and 50,000 for class 2. Then I write the balancing figure for equity shareholders. But to write the balancing figure, I should know how much I should write for class 1 and how much I should write for class 2, for which we have done the calculation. Okay, so go through the problem. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, I have just marked whichever is new in this particular problem. If you have doubts, you can call me or you can text me. I will help you out. Okay, please understand the problem because we are coming to we are close to winding up the chapter. So we will be doing question paper problems from next week onwards. So go through all the problems in the notes. If you have doubts, clear it out so that question paper problems would become easy for you. Okay, thank you.